Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new episode of Reactor, the podcast. Today, we're diving into the second episode about direct air capture companies. If you haven't watched or listened to the previous episode, I encourage you to start it with this one. This second episode is dedicated to the business model. So, capturing carbon from thin air costs up to $1,000 per ton. That's like buying a latte for $6,000. So how do those companies stay alive? Hint, they don't just sell credits. They stack tax breaks, big corporate contracts, and even, for some, California fuel credits. But here's the catch. It only works if the policy stays, the energy stays cheap, and buyers keep paying. If you want the full breakdown, watch the full reactor episode, how DAC companies, direct air capture company, make money. So okay, let's start with the obvious. Capturing carbon straight out of the air costs between 600 and 1,000 a ton. So that's like ordering a Uber Eats or Deliveroo and finding out that delivery costs more than the food. So how do those direct air capture companies survive? Who's paying? And what kind of business model is this? Spoiler alert, it's not your local lemonade stand. Here's the magic trick. Direct air capture companies, and sometimes I will call them DAC companies don't rely on just one way to make money. They stack revenue streams like a game of Jenga. First block, corporate offtakes. Big company like Microsoft, JP Morgan, Amazon, they sign multi-year contracts to buy tons of CO2 removal. Why on earth do they do that? It makes their net zero pledges less embarrassing. Example, Microsoft just bought 315,000 tons from Heirloom. JP Morgan dropped over 20 million on climate works. Next block is the US 45Q tax credit. So up to $180 is paid to each direct air capture company per ton if the CO2 is stored underground. Basically, Uncle Sam is saying, good job for cleaning the sky. Here's a check. Third block, California LCFS credits. So if you are in California, if you hook direct air capture into low carbon fuels, you can earn more credits worth over $100 per ton. In Europe, there's the CRCF that is not really paying yet, but it's building the rules. It's like a nutrition label, but for carbon removal. Finally, products. You can use CO2 in fuels, concrete, or chemical. It's not huge money yet, but it looks great on a pitch deck. So, alright, let's crunch the number. Say capturing a ton costs $700. Subtract the 180 from 45Q, that leaves $520 per ton that needs to come from corporate buyers or fuel credits. That's why early direct air capture credits sell for between $500 and $800. Buyers know they're overpaying, but they also know that is how you bend the cost curve down, just like what we did with solar or wind 20 years ago. So now let's meet the main characters in this carbon removal sitcom. Climeworks. Think of them as the Apple of direct air capture. They have a premium brand, beautiful Swiss roots, and sleek Icelandic plants. They're corporate first, and they even run a consumer subscription called Pioneer. So that means that you and me, you can buy and remove CO2. If you want to brag at dinner, at Christmas, at Thanksgiving, that you're removing CO2, you have to choose Climbers. This is your brand. Then the company called 1.5 slash Occidental, as part of an Occidental group. This is the oil and gas veteran turned climate tech heavyweight. They are building Stratos in Texas, a 500,000 ton mega plant. Their model is integration, so that means captures, pipelines, storage, boom. They also know a thing or two about big infrastructure. Third player, Heirloom, the scrappy mineral looper. They opened their first US commercial DAC plant in California. Microsoft is their anchor buyer, and they're positioning themselves as best friends with the Department of Energy. Carbon Capture Inc. is the fourth player we're gonna dive in today. Is the modular kits. Their pitch is basically, why build one giant direct air capture company and plant when we can mass produce boxes like iPhones? It's basically the Lego, but for direct air capture. The problem is for them is that they recently paused a big project because clean power run out. Ouch. So yes, the skeleton is the same. The skeleton of the business model for every direct air capture is basically the same. Corporate plus policy credits plus maybe some product sales. We have some muscles that are different. Climeworks works on brand and in a Polish system or in a B2C system. 1.5 is the big one, the scale and integration. Heirloom is the government partner, and carbon capture, is the modular gamble. Basically, it's the same skeleton but different gym routines. So now it sounds pretty good. We have, a better idea of what are the main sources of revenue for those direct air capture company, but there are some risks and challenges. Here's the fine print. There's a one policy risk. So if tomorrow 45Q in the US or even California LCFS disappear, and it can be a political decision to make it disappear, most of those projects will suffer. Second risk is the energy bottleneck. So direct air capture guzzles clean power, and it's competing with data centers, electric vehicle, hydrogen. Spoiler, AI might steal the electrons first. Trust issues. So as any climate tech project, and as we see a lot of greenwashing out there, monitoring and verification must be airtight. If buyers thinks your tons are fake, the whole market collapses. Finally, capital intensity. Plants cost hundreds of millions. That's not Kickstarter money, that's Wall Street money. So here's the conclusion and the bottom line of all this video. Direct air capture companies don't survive on cheap offsets. They stack corporate contracts with government incentives plus a sprinkle of product sales. Right now, every ton is sold at a loss. Everyone knows that, from the direct air capture company to corporate buyers to governments. But the buyers are paying top dollar to get the flywheel spinning, just like they did with solar 20 years ago. Everyone is betting on the same skeleton of a business model, but some of them with different muscles: brand, scale, minerals, or modular boxes. So, conclusion, direct air capture isn't profitable yet, but the first revenues are real and the race is on. In the next and final episode, we'll meet the startups and scale-ups vacuuming carbon out of the sky. It's a full-field guide to the carbon vacuum industry. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.